not having to spend any money in acquisitions or to get leads, and I keep building these relationships, I feel like it's inevitable that I get 1 to 2 deals a month. I really feel that way. So
you're right there.
Yeah, it's a huge mindset shift, which I think is probably the most important part of this whole thing.
Well, Patric, I'm excited to do this interview and talk to you about your success and how you got started and your journey so far. So again, thank you for being here with me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So tell us where are you from and what market are you working in right now?
I'm in Columbus, Cincinnati, and I'm dabbling in Tampa, but I haven't done any deals in Tampa yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Patric, how long ago did you get started in real estate?
My journey is a little different than most. 2018, I was selling roofs for my buddy's company. And one of my coworkers and friends, he was watching a lot of wholesaling videos with, I think, Max Maxwell.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, we went on break for the 4th of July. And he was telling me, we can do this. And it sounded too good to be true. No money, no credit, flipping out. So I started watching your videos, Max Maxwell, I think a few others. And we decided to give it a try. So we found out in Hamilton County, because I was living in Cincinnati at that time. It was where one of our branches were for the roofing company. So we got this. It's not the normal newspaper. It's like a private newspaper, but they publish all of the tax delinquents in that paper. So it comes out every Tuesday. We went through, there was only like 3 or 4 that Tuesday. We drove to every one, right? Because we didn't have the money to really spend to skip trace or do any of that. We drove to this one. It was vacant, but I knocked on the neighbor's door, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I know the daughter. I'll give you her number." So we called her. She met us the next day. We didn't really know exactly what we were doing. We kind of pulled up your comping videos, a few others, and we kind of just threw it together kind of on a whim. They countered about 20,000 higher than what we wanted. And this is a credit to my friend. He's like, "I think it still makes sense." I was trying to be way more conservative because we'd never done it before. Yeah. But we ended up getting it locked up, I think, for 29. And we assigned it 2 days later to this duo who flips houses for 40,000. So we made 11,000 together on that one. And we tried to keep doing it, but it was off market. I didn't know anything about on market at that time. So I would drive for dollars, tried some other things. Nothing worked for sale by owner. So I gave up and kept selling roofs. And that pattern repeated itself up until this year. So I got 2 deals the following year, gave up after trying the same thing, driving for dollars. And then I got a couple JVs in 2021, same deal. And then this year I got a couple off market deals. But I've been seeing I watched so many of your videos. I've seen the on market stuff that you did. And finally with the challenge, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So I did it, and I was able to find success with that pretty quickly.
Now you're talking the challenge where I said do 5 offers a day.
Yeah. So the 30-day challenge, I know you had talked about it previously. There's an older video that you had where you said make 5 offers a day, you'll get your first deal. But you did the one where you were doing an event, I believe it was.
Yeah, I was in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do this. So me and my girlfriend actually have been doing. She's a real estate agent, but she's not fond of the whole residential part of it with loans and setting up all of her appointments. She's kind of falling out of love with that part of it and more in love with the investor side. So we kind of did that together. She does her own offers. I do mine. But it came together a lot faster, and I didn't have to leave my house. I didn't have to spend money. So I'm kind of, I'm all in on the on market thing.
So you guys listening, what it is I did a presentation, and I basically said, I made a promise, and I said, if you follow what I'm showing you here, which is how to do it, but if you make 5 offers a day, verbal or written, but 5 offers a day, 5 days a week, that's 25 a week. That's 100 a month. I made the promise. I said, if you do that, you will get a deal. I promise you'll get a deal. Maybe it's the 20th offer, maybe it's the 99th offer, but in 100 offer window, in a 30-day window, 100 offers, I promise you'll get a good deal. And you did it. In fact, you messaged me, you made a comment and you said, Jerry, I did your challenge and it worked. I think it was like offer 59 or something like that.
55. It was 55. So I keep it on the notes in my phone. Mainly not necessarily to keep track of the offer at first, but it was because I was texting and calling with so many agents. They would reply to me days later or whatever it was, and I wouldn't remember which property or what my offer price was. So I was just kind of trying to stay organized. So I was writing them all in my notes one by one. So when I got the contract, I went back and looked, and it was 55.
55.
Yeah. And I think
that's
I'm at
so awesome. That's so cool. So you made, and how, I mean, were there times along all the way up to the 55 where you're like, I don't know, Jerry, I don't know, maybe this isn't going to work. Like, did you have any doubts?
I had some doubts. Yeah. So I had a little bit more confidence because I've done this before off market. So I'm a little bit more confident in my numbers and the rehab cost and that sort of thing, but not doing it on market was definitely a challenge. So I would get in my head about that, thinking, these agents, they get all these offers, they're never going to play ball. But what really got me through it is when I would start feeling like that, I would watch one of your testimonial videos where you have these guys on there that do on market. And that seemed to really help get me through. Because I know if they're doing it and they're brand new, I can certainly do it because I've done deals before. So it gave me that confidence and I pushed through. And I noticed what also gave me confidence is the agents would blow me off or not really pay me any mind. I would try to double dip. And it didn't really seem to make a difference because where my number was. But then 2 weeks later, they would call me back and say, hey, you're still interested? So I started getting more confidence then also.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, I just did a video where I walked through and demonstrated making a super lowball offer on an overpriced distressed home. And it was listed for 400 and my number was like 2 something. And I still called and made the offer, which of course he said no, but then he ends up giving me 2 new leads of off-market deals. And so there's a way to learn how to work with these agents where even if your offer is like way off, it's still worth building that relationship. It's still worth having that conversation. If you do it right, they're not going to be offended because they get it. Like, oh, all right, well, you need a deal and you're trying to do a flip and I get all these things. So I get it. And then just that follow-up or even asking that question, hey, do you have anything else that is distressed that I can take a look at? It's amazing how many of these agents are either working with a seller, they're trying to work out a listing or find a buyer for them, or in the near future, they're going to get a distressed listing. And now they know to call Patric because I just talked to Patric and he's buying. So,
or someone in their office.
Powerful to have those conversations.
Yeah. I've seen a few where it's the someone in the office, the same brokerage. I'm working with this agent in Tampa, and she's brought me 2 pocket listings, not of her own, but of her colleagues, and they haven't hit the market yet. And I've been able to get offers in on those before they hit the market. So that definitely is something that happens often.
Yeah. And even on those ones, that agent's going to get probably a referral or sharing a commission with with the agent in their office. They're going to do a designated agency. So, I mean, now you have an agent referring other agents' leads. Like that's, I mean, how much better could you get to create referral business like that? I mean, without spending money in marketing, nothing beats that.
Yeah. It's really changed my whole perspective and really given me a lot more motivation to keep going. Cause like I said, I would always quit with this. I would get one deal, think I was on top of the world, go drive, think I could do it again, and then just tire out with all the driving and calling and trying to track these people down. It was really the acquisitions part of it that held me back because I had a good understanding for the rest of it. I mean, obviously I've had my deals fall apart, my fair share of that also, but I had a good understanding for what was going on. It was just, I couldn't get my hands on deals. So this whole thing has really opened things up for me. And also the fact that agents are bringing me repeat business or they're bringing me other leads to look at. I feel like I can really just do this need to and have this be my main source of income or my main source of acquisitions. So.
Yeah, I really firmly believe that if you consistently make the 100 offers a month, and then over time, you're going to start to build these relationships. And then I think it takes about maybe 25 to 30, key relationships with agents that are doing the double dip that start to contact you. That strategy of 100 a month, building these relationships, over time, that equals about 3 to 5 deals a month in deal flow. If you're consistent and you build the relationships, and because what's happening is not only are you building relationships where now they start calling you, but every day and every week and every month, you're calling on new leads. So you're constantly building new relationships. Yep. And you do that for 6 months. you're going to start hitting the consistency where deals start popping, and now you're doing 3, 4, 5 a month.
And I can see that already with, like I said, a lot of them come back. So right after I got that first contract and I messaged you, I got one 2 days later.
Yeah.
So
from the same agent?
No, different agent.
Oh, different agent.
Cincinnati, but it was the same kind of deal where they came back, they, turned me down at first, came back around, and now I have a really good rapport with that agent. So I'm confident if I keep doing this, the relationships are almost more important than the offer, the way you preach, which is why that's another reason why I stopped getting discouraged, because I've had agents that, they just don't give me any time of day.
Yeah.
The dismissive. And that used to bother me in the first couple of days. But I've realized now it only takes one of the agents I'm talking to really give you the time of day or value the relationship in a similar way that you do for it to really pay off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that you've been able to, thank you for sharing the reality of this business, which is, Patrick, I can't tell you how many people start and quit, have a little success, and then hit all these walls and obstacles and then quit. Like that's very common and very normal, because it's hard to go months of all this work. And I know people listening right now can relate. I hear it all the time where it's like, Jerry, I'm doing the work and I can't seem to get a deal, or I got a deal. Now I can't get another deal. And, to be able to create a model where you can feel like there's enough consistency in acquisitions without spending thousands and thousands of dollars in marketing is a game changer. That really does change the way that anybody can get in this business and be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're consistent, and even if you're just doing the bare minimum and closing one deal a month, let's say your average assignment's 10 grand, most people that I know can live off 10 grand a month easily, right? But let's say you struggle, but you stay consistent. You only get one deal every 2 months. And me and my girlfriend were talking about this. If I only get one deal every 2 months, that's 6 a year. That's 60 grand a year. I think I can live comfortably on 5 grand a month. Not that I want to, I strive for more, but if you really get that in your head and understand that as long as you are comfortable knowing that your efforts will pay off, anyone could close 6 deals a year. I'm confident.
In all honesty, and Patrick, you're seeing this. If you just keep doing the 5 a day, you will be doing multiple deals every month. You will. And you should be hitting more than 120 grand a year. You should be doing minimum a couple deals a month, which is going to put you in the 250, 300,000. And that's what this business should be. This business really should be $300,000 to $400,000 in your first year, or by year 2, you really can be hitting that type of income in this business. And that's not far-fetched. That's not like this big team and massive production and tons of marketing. No, that's just working at it every day with yourself and a small team. That's it.
Yeah. And I think the key to what you said is year 1 to year 2 of consistent action, right? Because if I could just see the momentum now of what I'm doing and the way that it's paying off. And I'm confident that this time next year, I'll definitely be there. Because, with not having to spend any money in acquisitions or to get leads, and I keep building these relationships, I feel like it's inevitable that I get 1 to 2 deals a month. I really feel that way. So
you're right there.
Yeah, it's a huge mindset shift, which I think is probably the most important part of this whole thing. Is I went from being very limited in my views and my mindset, and now I have much more of an abundance mindset because of this whole process. So it's definitely something that I'm confident in.
And what's your main method for finding your buyers once you get an on-market deal?
So what I typically do is I'll just pull up the comps that I was looking at. Mm-hmm. I'll find the renovated ones that I know were flipped. This is straight out of your playbook.
Yeah.
And I'll call those agents. I won't worry about skip tracing or trying to track down the corporation or the LLC. I'll just call the agent directly. And I've never had an agent not want to pass it on to their buyer. They always want to, because they want to look good for one, and they want that listing on the back end. So that's always worked out for me. I don't think, if I've never had an agent tell me no in that situation. So that to me is by far the easiest way to find buyers. I found a buyer that I work with pretty consistently on a Facebook group also, but they have a certain buy box. So if it doesn't, I feel the way you feel is if I can get a deal, that's the hardest part. If I can get the front end contract, if you have your numbers locked down and it's a true deal, you will find a buyer.
Yeah.
To me, that's the easy part.
I've never not found a buyer if it's a deal.
Right.
If it's a deal. Now, there's certainly been where I haven't found a buyer, but it's not because it wasn't a deal. It was because it wasn't a deal, because the buyers would say to me, yeah, I can't pay that. I can pay this. And then I quickly realize, oh, shoot, I don't have a deal. That happens. But I found that strategy that I really believe in strongly, which is what you said, you look up the flippers in your same neighborhood as your deal, and you call the agent that listed it. I found that if I call about 12 flippers, agents that represented flippers in the same area, one of them is going to have a buyer that wants my deal. That's it. It's not that hard to find. It takes about a minimum of 12. I've never had to call more than 12 to find a buyer.
Yeah, I don't think I've had to call more than 5 or 6.
Yeah. I mean, you've shared some great nuggets here, but what would be your number one piece of advice for somebody that's working on their first deal that might be watching this?
I say first and foremost, you have to start with the mindset part of it. Because I noticed for me, when everything started to come together, it was when I started truly believing it could happen. And not even believing, but almost knowing it was going to happen. I had absolute faith going into, you get discouraged, but that doesn't mean your faith is gone, right? I think when you're dead set on doing it, you're going to do it and you're giving it your all. I just think it's inevitable. So I think that's the most important part. People are easily discouraged, or they're kind of just trying and hoping it happens. To me, you have to really know it's going to happen. And the only way you can really get that confidence, I think, is by watching your videos, watching some other guys' videos, gaining the knowledge, but then not getting stuck there. Because I see that happen a lot too, is you'll overload on the learning, or you think you can't start. You have too many questions. It's like the paralysis, the stage that you get in. So to me, it's get the confidence and then know where you're going. Right. To me, I wrote it down. So I wrote down that I was going to make 10 offers every day, because I really wanted to accelerate that process. And then also you have to write down or know that you're helping people. It can't just be about monetary gain.
Love that.
I think, obviously it's about money also. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm just trying to help people, but I think if you understand that what you're doing is helping someone and adding value to their life, I think that helps it become that much more powerful. Because for me, I knew that these agents don't really like these listings, so I'm helping them out. I know that the sellers are in a tough position, or they wouldn't be willing to take such a low offer. And then I know I'm helping the fix and flipper that I'm getting rid of the property to get another deal. So it makes me feel good to know that I'm putting all of this together. So I think that's the number one thing, is the mindset and getting information, but not getting stuck there.
Yeah, great advice. Love that, Patrick. Well, good. Well, good for you, Patrick. That's awesome. Guys, leave a comment and say, Patrick, you're a flipping genius. Thank you for sharing your success and some of the things that you're doing. I love that you've got a goal here to just continue to be consistent and start to move into the 2 deals a month and keep going from there.